All right, so let's see how this goes. Today's the first day of a documentary series that I'm doing on the state of Maryland, the history of Maryland, things that have happened here, so forth and so on, that I've been talking about doing for several years now. That actually started with a research project that I helped out on as far as global warming goes, where some of the islands in the Chesapeake Bay are actually sinking and disappearing due to current levels and tides rising in the Chesapeake Bay region of Maryland. That started, a whole global warming thing. But in order to fully understand where all these islands and things came from, you have to understand the early beginnings of Maryland and where these places were, because quite a few of them don't even exist anymore. For example, Holland Island is gone. It's not there. Sharps Island is gone. It's not there anymore. So in order to try and explain what's going on, I figured today I'd start from the beginning of Maryland, where the first landing in Maryland happened, in St. Mary's County, a little place called St. Clement's Island. I'll be going there today and explaining that region and how it all started. I'll be talking about the Indians of the era, who was around, the city of Bladensburg, the Bladensburg dueling grounds. I'm going to get into all that. We'll even take the same route that John Wilkes Booth took after he shot Lincoln to flee D.C. and into Maryland and out of Maryland into Virginia, where he was subsequently burned up in a barn. We'll visit Dr. Mudd's house. We'll go by the Surratt house where Mary Surratt was. Over the period of this documentary, just coming to some of the things that I want to touch on. We'll also go through Annapolis, Maryland, which is known now as the sailing capital of the world, but a lot of people forget that's also the port where Kunta Kinte entered America as a slave. Some of this documentary might make you a little bit upset, so I'll put a trigger warning on it now. But most of it is just for informational stuff of, the region, the area, how towns got their names, the definition of what a hundred is here in Maryland. They had sections called hundreds in colonial times, and those hundreds were owned by landowners that, some of the towns and cities and things are named for, like Leonardtown in Maryland is named for Leonard Calvert. Lucky for him, he actually got to have two things named after him, because there's a county in Maryland called Calvert County. A relative of his, Charles Calvert, had two counties named after him, Charles County and, of course, Calvert County, whose family was known for starting. So we'll get into all that little stuff like that. It's kind of interesting. We'll even visit Point Lookout, where the last remaining lighthouse, not really the last remaining lighthouse, but the last lighthouse to cut its light off in Maryland was. We'll try and get out to Drum Point at some time. Solomon's Island, which was originally known as Blackstone Island before that. So like I said, we're going to get into a lot of this deeper stuff. Most of it is actually in southern Maryland. I really don't know too much about a northern part of Maryland, but we'll explore some of those places too, like Fort McHenry, Fells Point, apparently where the pirate Blackbeard landed one of his ships. So it'll be an interesting little ride as we get into this little, how do I want to say it, impromptu documentary / history / global warming project takes place. Rumor has it that now there are also dolphins in the Chesapeake Bay. There have been over 200 sightings, and schools and families are moving into this area, which to me is another sign of global warming because normally they weren't in the bay. At least when I was younger, I never saw them, but now they're here by the groves. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, there's a guy in Calvert County, Maryland, who actually found a alligator in the Chesapeake Bay. So we'll explore that as well. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you watch the next episode.